Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Scott Mann Podcast. We have another phenomenal guest today, my buddy Jess Owen. She's Ben's wife. And let me just tell you a little bit about her. She doesn't do that many podcast interviews, but man, after this one, I suspect she's going to probably do some more. So Jess is a mom of 8. She is a serial entrepreneur and a formerly addicted alcoholic and homeless badass. That's what she is. Along with her husband, Ben, she has founded or co-founded multiple nonprofits to support a host of issues to include supporting homeless veterans, anti-human trafficking, refugee evacuation, helping children and their parents involved in the drug trade, and more. Her organizations that she's worked with Ben include Flanders Field, We Fight Monsters, and Black Rifle Company, Not Coffee. She's also supported the larger Federation of Moral Compass Federation. So I am super excited to have her in here because when you see, kind of like with Romy and Gabby Camargo, when you see the 1-2 punch of this amazing couple and what they're able to accomplish in the world, you realize just how critical the perspective and point of view and horsepower of Jess Owen is in this equation. And you don't get many chances to really see that on full display, but you will sure see it in this interview, and I'll see you there. Welcome to the Scott Mann Podcast, where we connect like our lives depend on it. All right, hey everybody. Welcome to the Scott Mann Podcast. Sitting here with my buddy Jess, and I think it's cool that we're doing this interview on the heels of the interview with Ben, and so I'm gonna lead off actually with a question that I kind of did with him, but I had the honor of working with both of you all on your stories, and your story just hit me right between the running lights. And you remember it was the story about the breadsticks?
Yes, I do remember that.
So I just thought, can you just start off with that story? I mean, just tell me that story again, because I just think it's so kind of encompassing of just kind of the world that you guys lived in and what you came through. And I just love hearing it. And I think our listeners would like it.
Okay. Well, on this particular night, we had run out of money. We had no dope. We were fiending for dope. Like, that is all we wanted. And when you're addicted to crack, that really is like all you want. That is your life. That is your only goal in life, is to smoke more crack. So we started devising a plan on how we could get more, or how we could at least get money to eat. While we were trying to find more, we had just gotten kicked out of the trap house because we had made the dope boys angry somehow. I don't remember how. So they kicked us out. It was freezing outside. It was like sleeting. I think we had one jacket like between us, and we were like sharing it together. And when we would start walking, I'd give it to him, he'd give it to me. And it was just bitterly cold. And like I couldn't feel my fingers.
And this is South Memphis.
South Memphis, yes. On Woodward Street.
Okay.
We couldn't feel our hands or our feet, and it was just so cold. And there is a restaurant called Coletta's. It's like this Italian restaurant. And Ben was like, I'm so hungry. Let's go try. They have free breadsticks there. Let's go eat some free breadsticks and drink some water. And at that time, like that seemed like a buffet to us. Like, it was just so amazing to think about eating breadsticks. And these weren't even good breadsticks. They were crackers. Like, they were like the little tiny cracker ones. So we walk there. On our way there, we see Alice, who is a prostitute that we used to smoke crack with, and she's always got this thing where she's so high all the time. She's all doing that with her teeth, and she's like trying to talk to us and doing that, and we just had to say hi, Alice, and keep walking because we were so hungry and we were so cold, so we just tried to make it there. We did end up making it there. I remember seeing like the sign, the Coletta's, and it was so inviting, and it just looked warm. We did make it there, and I'm sure we looked like horrible. I'm sure we looked like crackheads. And luckily, it was in a bad part of town, so we were in good company. There were other people in there that kind of looked like us. That, of course, they had money. And we walked in. They showed us to our seats. And we start opening the menu and just going down, like talking to each other, like we're going to order stuff. And like the waitress comes in, what do you want? We knew we had no money for anything. We just ordered waters and started like tearing away at all of their cracker breadsticks. And the waitress would come in and ask what we wanted. We're still trying to decide. Ben, do you want this or do you want this? And we were just trying to
buying time.
make it, buying time. And it got to the point where it was time to order. Like they were like, okay, something's up. And I remember getting up, and Ben's like, maybe if we say, oh, we left our wallet, somebody will be like, oh, I got you. And I think in our drug-addled brains, like that made sense. And we had no idea, I guess we really had no idea how bad we looked. So like when we stood up to do that, and Ben's like, oh no, I left my wallet at home. People were just like, sure, we're sure that's what happened.
Wow.
So, so it was time to go. We had to leave. We had outstayed our welcome, and we walked out of the doors. We at least had a belly full of water and crackers, which is more than we had before. And we walked out back into the cold. It was sleeting even harder when we walked out. I do remember that. I just felt like we were being punished even more.
Yeah.
And it was hard. It was a bad night.
What do you, when you think back on that now, like, and you tell that story, and it's amazing because I watch you tell it, and like a great storyteller, you're generous enough that you're in that sleet and you're experiencing that again. What is that like for you to think about where you and Ben are now and what you're doing in South Memphis and the impact that you all are having?
It feels surreal to even think about where we're at now. It doesn't even seem possible. And sometimes we'll just wake up and just be like, how the hell are we in this house? How the fuck are we doing what we're doing right now when we were smoking crack with prostitutes 5 years ago? It's insane. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it really is. And when you guys decided to write the book, can you talk about how that We Fight Monsters, when that idea came to fruition, was that both of you, was that Ben? How did that kind of come about? Because it really is, it's a compilation of those kinds of stories, right? That brought you to where you are today and what y'all are doing. So how did that evolve?
So I will say this, everything has been like, he's the visionary. And I think that's why we work so well together. He's the visionary and I'm like the worker bee. Like I'm just a machine. I just work. But that's the way God made me. And it fit, like we fit together very well. Yeah. So, Ben's the one that has all of the big ideas. He's like, we should write a book. People need to hear this. People need to read this. It could help a lot of people. And, us, like, we just want to help people. Yeah. And we've been through so much crazy shit that we were like, hell, that would make a damn good book, maybe a good movie. I don't know. Yeah. And we've been told many times, like, y'all need to write a book. You need to write a book. So we were like, fuck it, let's do it. We'll write a book. Yeah, and here it is. We're right on the edge of it right now. Right. So when Ben decided to get sober and he left South Memphis and then ultimately came back for you, what was that like for you when you were still out there at that point? It was very lonely because I did leave South Memphis when he did. It's just not fun without Ben. Yeah. That's my best friend. So my best friend left. And, my dad's house was always available. We tried not to stay there because he was an enabler. Like you would never hit rock bottom with my dad. Right. And we knew that. But when Ben left, I was tired. I was lonely. I didn't know if I was ready. And I didn't want to say, hey, I'm ready, and then go and mess him up. So I just let him go. And I went to my dad's house, and he would like send me photos of him on, in his mom's house. And it was a nice clean bed and like nature on TV. And, my house is, my mom was very violent drunk in my dad's house and there's shit broken. It's not, I don't have very good memories in my dad's house. So I'm just sitting there lonely. I'm broken. I'm missing my best friend. And then I was like, you know what? I think I am done. Like, I just want to be with Ben. So I just called him. I was like, I'm done. Come get me. I'm done. And he knew, didn't he? He knew. Yeah. Because when he tells that story now, you can just see on his face that he knew that you were there.
you guys had kind of a different upbringing, right? I mean, in terms of how, you came to addiction and how he came to addiction.
Yes.
Do you mind talking a little bit about your upbringing and kind of what it was like for you?
Yeah, it was complete opposite of Ben's.
Yeah.
Well, at first it was okay. Like, I grew up in the church. My mom was the soloist, for the church. And when we moved to Memphis when I was 8, I guess her little closet alcoholism just went full swing. And she just, pounding alcohol. But it started small. It got bigger and bigger. And I think when I was at age 13 or 14, she found crack. But even before the crack, at age 9 and 10, that's when I started getting beat. And it wasn't just like, let me give you a spanking. Like, she beat the shit out of us. Like, there was like 2 times I went to school with a black eye, and I learned how to do makeup very early.
Wow.
Because I would have to try to hide that, which is, it almost. And I always talk about this, like my sister didn't know the good mom because she's 5 years younger than me. So she only knew the bad mom. I actually had the good mom. I had the good, God-loving, choir singing. We're going to go to church on Sunday. I praising me for everything I did because I was just her amazing daughter. I had that to being beat shitless by a violent drunk that didn't even want to look at me anymore. And it's like, how the fuck do you go from that to that? And not fucking get high. And then the crack happens. And then when crack happens, there are no more children. There's no more family. There's no more bills. I was stealing clothes so I could have clothes to wear. Like we would wait till school let out, and me and my brother would go backstage of the cafeteria so we could steal clothes from the lost and found. Because we were being made fun of because of all our shit had holes and stains, and I was wearing like the one pair of jeans I would wear 7 days a week because I didn't have anything else. And my dad, and I can understand this a little more now because I am kind of my dad's age that he was when we were going through this, because I'm 40, almost 41 now, and this was 20, 30 years ago. So, like, the age I am now, that's the age my dad was now. And I don't even know how he didn't deal with it. He zoned out. He sat in front of a computer, and that was it. Like, he didn't leave us. He didn't leave us with our mom. He still went to work. He still paid the bills. He had to. But we were left on our own. We were left to fend for ourselves because he had to do what he had to do to survive her. And that meant just kind of walling himself in. So I started getting high at 13 because I just wanted to numb everything in me. And I started doing stupid shit. Like, I would do anything to not be at the house with my mom. I started hitchhiking. I would just walk away from home. And like, if you stopped to be like, hey, where are you going? If I found out you had weed in your car, you had any type of drug, I was hopping in your vehicle and we were going to take a ride. Now, luckily, that was never anything sexual. Because when people hear that, they're like, oh, what were you doing? Well, I was actually molested as a child as well. And usually when you're molested, you go one way or another. You're extremely promiscuous, or you're like totally shut down. I don't want anything to do with sex. And that was me. I never wanted anything to do with, I just wanted all of your drugs. And I tried to take all of the drugs. I did a very good job at that. And for 20 years, I was addicted to everything. But later on when I started doing crack and I was visiting trap houses, it became very apparent to me that I was visiting trap houses with my mom, and I had no idea because I was so young. I was like 13. I had no idea that I was in a trap house because I would go out play with kids. I'd come back in and like mom would be nowhere to be found. And I was like, where's mom? And I'm assuming she was earning her crack in the back room. So I have no idea. But that was my childhood, which is very different.
Yeah. But you found Ben in addiction. You
Yes.
guys found each other in addiction, and each of your paths brought you to that. But like, what astounds me is when I watch you do what you do in South Memphis and the interventions that you do and just the outreach that you do. What always strikes me is just how connected you are to the people that you're working with and how quickly, I mean, even if, I mean, you know most of them, but it could be like the most escalated situation in the world and you can just walk right into it. Is it because you lived it? I mean, what enables you to do what you do right now?
I think that is what I think because I grew up in chaos, it's normal to me. Having no chaos is what's abnormal. Like I don't do well in situations that aren't like crazy.
Okay.
And I think that's because that's how I grew up, and it just feels normal to me. And I think because I had to de-escalate my mom so many times and de-escalate all of the family scenarios, and then later on my own scenarios that I caused or that I walked into. It was just living a life of chaos, and that is what has become normal to me, which is not healthy, and I know that. But right now, it's serving its purpose.
Yeah.
And so I will keep on with it.
Better than the other alternative, at least for right now.
Yes.
I mean, I'm the same way. I mean, I know there's a lot of things that, you know, that I do to stay sober that have to do with outreach and just, it's kind of like the old, you know, great white shark. You got to keep moving or you die. Mm-hmm. That's what I feel like a lot of times is I feel like I have to do all these things because if I don't, then I have to tolerate myself.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Do you ever feel that?
Absolutely.
Like that if you have to just sit and tolerate yourself, like that's one of the hardest things on
and
the
I can't
planet.
tolerate myself.
No.
I can't do it. I have to keep going. Even at home, it's laundry or it's dishes or it's cleaning or it's reading or it's working. Like I can't sit still. I know. Yeah. Yes, that's exactly right.
Well, what about like as a mom? You know, you all have 8 kids mm-hmm. and blended family, right?
Yep.
But you're a mom to all of them. You play that role in various capacities, various ages. What's that like, you know, thinking like what you went through as a child? How does that factor into how you parent?
I understand what anger does to children because I lived it. And I try, and it's very hard too because that's how I was raised. Sometimes I have to watch myself because I'll get angry. And I used to be very violent, and I've had to tone that down a lot, and especially with Ben's children, because I got with Ben almost 10 years ago, and when his children were like 10 or 11 when I first got with him, and I tell him all the time, like, your kids literally grew up with me. I had to grow up with his children. I had to learn how to be a mother. I had to learn how to control myself and control my words and my actions because I never did any of that. I had one child when I got with Ben, and I was high pretty much her entire life. She was 10 when I got with Ben, and I never learned how to be a mother until I got with Ben because I didn't have a very good example of what that should be. And I mean, in my mind, we all know what a good mother's supposed to be, but when you don't live it and you don't have that, it's harder just reactively to know what to say when things happen. And I react very badly and very quickly and ferociously sometimes. So I had to, it's been a very big learning process, but I think 10 years later now, I'm much calmer. I don't yell as much. I don't yell nearly as much as I used to.
Yeah.
So it's good. It's been a learning process for sure.
And I think that just kind of continues, wouldn't you say? I mean, like we never stop. I mean, we shouldn't probably.
Shouldn't.
When you got into recovery, what was that like the last time that you went into recovery? Did you feel like that was it? Was there still kind of that sense of, you know, the world kind of closing in on you and I'm not sure how this is going to go? Or did you was there, nope, that's the way I'm going and I'm going to make it? Like, what was it like?
So for the last time I went into recovery, and I'm not real sure if that would mean like the last time I was in a rehab, because the last time when we packed up and left and we were like, we're done.
Yeah.
We both knew that was absolutely it. We could not go back. We were going to die. You know, we had been kidnapped. We had been smoking crack with our 2-year-old with prostitutes all around him, crack smoke around his head. Like, we knew that we could not do that anymore. I knew that I had turned into my mother. And when we packed up and left, we knew that was it. Ben took his little picture, leave Memphis in the rear view for good. And, you know, we were done. If we were talking about the last time in rehab, I knew it wasn't going to be done.
Yeah.
And like the last time when we left, we didn't go to rehab. We didn't go to detox. We were just fucking done. And there was no amount of learning that rehab could tell me or could do for me that could make me any more done than I already was.
Just sick and tired of being sick and tired.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
When you, you know, I talk to a lot of parents in the course of what I do that are dealing with various forms of addiction with their kids. And, you know, it's an even bigger thing than when we were younger. I mean, in so many ways, and more scary in some ways. When you think about parents that have like teenagers that are dealing with addiction, is there anything that you would say to them about that, on how to communicate or to talk about it, or to just to deal with it, or even just to, just even how to think about it as a parent?
One thing I would say is do not blow a gasket over it. Like, be aware of it. Be frightened for your children, because it is fucking scary. But don't go in there ramming in the door. What the fuck have you done? You know, nothing, because they're not going to trust you. They're not going to come to you when they need to. And you need to have that level of trust. So it's important to get on their level, to understand, and maybe even just talk to them, understand why they're doing this. They might not even know why they're doing this. And I think having that open line of communication is key to everything in life, really. That open line communication it's pertinent for everything if you're trying to save your child from a life of addiction. Sometimes the kids are just born. I was born an addict. You know, my brother was just fine. Some people are just born addicts. And if that is your child, that might be something that they're just going to have to deal with no matter what, no matter how hard you are, no matter how soft you are. But being able for them to know that they can come to you and talk to you, that moves mountains, really. Even when they're just ready to go to treatment, when they can come to you and be like, look, I'm ready. I'm sorry I stole all your shit. I'm sorry I burned down your car, but I'm ready now. And I did always have that in my dad, and I literally stole all his shit and burned down his car. And when I was ready, I went to him. I was like, I'm ready.
Are you guys pretty close now? Is he still with us, or
not really? He's still with us. He lives in Memphis still. We're not really close. He's Japanese, you know, like Japanese. We're not real close people. We're very introverted, and there was not a whole lot
kind
of
a
like
stoicism kind of.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
You know, I was thinking about when I was younger and I was going through and I was drinking heavy and dealing with my parents, you know, and it was, I didn't start until college. I actually started drinking, and I was born an alcoholic. The first drink, I can still remember the first drink I took. I can remember what it felt like, and I was off to the races. Like I knew it, and it was like something out of a bad movie. But you know, my parents, it was because I had not drank, you know, up until late in my life, and then when I started, it terrified them, and it was that response that you talked about, and it was a lot of shit that we had to go through before finally I felt like I could actually talk to them about the addiction and actually I was in and out of recovery a couple times, but you know, there was a point where they eventually came alongside me, you know, and to this day, like we talk about recovery in that way, but you're exactly right. When they came at me, you know, it just made me double down, you know. Okay, let's shift gears a little bit, and I want to ask you a question about you and Ben, because you've alluded to this, and when you think about just Ben, because what I told him was, you know, I have the good fortune every now and then to come across couples that are just doing big work in the world, and it's neat to see how they interact with each other and how they support each other and how they fight and all the other stuff that goes with it. You know, Romy and Gabby, we talked about them. I see them as one of those couples that they've been through it. They have their problems, but at the end of the day, like they fight for each other so hard, and it's so beautiful to see. And because look at what they've done, right?
Yeah.
I see you and Ben. I put you guys on that same plane. Like I put you on the same plane as them. And when you think about your relationship to Ben, like what comes to mind?
We were tough. I don't even know of a word to just resilience is one. We both have a very sick and dark, twisted sense of humor, and that has helped incredibly because we've gone through so much shit. And I think you have to have a shared humor, and I think that's partly what has. Sorry, I just went blank.
That's okay. No, just thinking about you and Ben and like what you would tell people that kind of like sums you guys up or defines you or
just fighting for each other. And that's really like he is my best friend, and there's no secrets, there's no lying. It is 100% transparency. And I think that is the only way to completely have a relationship like the one that we have. Like there cannot be anything hidden, nothing like that. Like there's complete transparency. I can look at his phone, he can look at my phone. If someone says something bad about me, he's, he might be careful about what he says, but he makes sure that it's just always standing up for one another and having complete transparency, and also having God on our side. That was a big thing for me. Like my daughter's father was not really good with God, and he had asked me to marry him a few times. I was like, nope, because we're unequally yoked. And that was a big thing for me, is I had to know the guy that I was with loved God as much as I did. And I think that is one reason that we have been so successful like we have been, is because we have such a foundation in God, in Christ. And that's a big part of us too.
Hell yeah. That's amazing. Let's fast forward to you guys left Memphis, and you made some assertion that you would go back to Memphis for the folks that you left behind, and you didn't really know what that looked like. Is that right? I mean, you kind of
Yes. Well, I mean, we were in the truck, and we were like, deuces. We were happy we left, and then Ben was like, God wants us to go back, and we just laughed so hard.
Did you start laughing, or
we were like, what? Okay, yeah, we'll go back, and. He was like, no, I'm serious. Like, I feel like I'm supposed to go back. I was like, maybe you're still high, Ben. Like, maybe something's wrong.
How do you take care of him? I mean, like, how do you guys take care of each other? I mean, because y'all run so hard, and you're just always sticking and moving. Like, how do you manage your time?
I don't. I don't. And when I say that God made me for him and God made him for me, I really mean that. Like he does all of the big stuff. He's the visionary person. I don't stop. Like he'll tell people I'm a machine. I literally am a machine. I have no emotion, which is not good. And I know that. But I really don't think about emotion. I don't think about anything. I just go.
Yeah.
So if he needs something done, I'm already on it, and I'm good at doing, I'm good at time management. I am good at time management. So what I mean is, if I have this to work on, and I know I have laundry, and I know I have dishes, and I know I have to start making dinner at 5:30, while also going to get to karate and all this, like, I don't even mean to, but in my head, I'm like, okay, if I start laundry now, then it'll be done in about an hour, and at that time I can start. And I just put these little puzzle pieces together in my head, and like, I always have whatever I need is always ready, right on time, and I just keep going.
Yeah.
I just keep going. I don't sit down and watch TV. I do Facebook, but it's only like to do posts, and I don't sit there and scroll.
Yeah.
I will do that at like 30 minutes at night, because that's my only time, my 30 minutes
that's your time.
at night, and that's it.
Monty is like that too. Like she just goes, and it's like an operating system in the background of all the crazy shit that I'm into. But I always look around, and she's always right there. And Is that how you recoup your time and your energy, though? Is 30 minutes on Facebook? Is that all you get?
I think so, yeah. And it's it's just watching reels or something that makes me laugh.
Yeah.
But that's about it. And like playing with my kids.
Yeah.
They've done this thing for the past like 2 weeks where they'll come in and they have like this blow up ball. It's like velvet or something. And we just play catch for like 30 minutes a night. And that brings me energy back somehow. I love it.
Love
yeah.
it. Let's fast forward to Afghanistan.
Okay.
So did you see that coming? I mean, I know Ben said you guys were talking to a Marine before the country fell in August about getting some people out, but did it kind of surprise you? Like, were you read in on it? How did it unfold for you? Because you got super involved.
I did. And I'm going to say this, and this is super embarrassing, but I'm going to say it anyway. So the morning Kabul fell, I'm like sitting at the table, have coffee or something, and Ben comes in, he's like, Kabul fell. I was like, okay, what the fuck is Kabul? Had no idea what any of this was. Had no idea Afghanistan fell. I had no idea Kabul was even in Afghanistan.
Right.
Like, that's super embarrassing to say, but it's true. I mean, mind you, I'd been getting high for 20 years. You know, I literally just became an adult. You know, I've been clean for 5 years now. So like when Kabul fell, I was barely like a year or two clean. So I didn't even know what Kabul was.
Wow.
So I see him going into it. And of course, you know, whatever Ben wants to do, that's my best friend. I want to do it too. Or at least I want to support him while he's doing it. So he can do all the big stuff. I'll do like the little background stuff. So how it really started was he would like lock himself in the basement and we wouldn't see him for like 2 or 3 days. But I was like, you know, he's doing his thing. I'll take care of all the kids. And then we just start hearing shit like banging down in the basement. I go check on him. And I think that's when the Abbey Gate bombing happened. And, you know, I'm seeing these pictures and like this live video feed of a guy with bloody rags and children everywhere. And I was like, oh, shit, I want in on this. And we ended up having to do an intervention with Ben to get him away from it for a minute. So I picked up his phone and I started messaging people, trying to get them help and trying to do whatever I could. And that's kind of how I got into it. But I had no idea what any of it was when it first happened.
Yeah. And it's interesting because Monty had to stage an intervention with me. It got really bad right after Abbey Gate because I made the decision that I was just going to stay with it and I don't even know what with it meant. Like you're talking like, what the hell does that even mean? Like, you know, and she didn't either. And meanwhile, our business had tanked. Our nonprofit had tanked. We'd lost most of our clients. And so she's sitting there going, this is not going to end well for us as like a family. And so she got a couple of my buddies to intervene, but it was similar. And, you know, at some point let's back up. I mean, the one thing that really stands out that you did that I just want to call out was the intervention with Arzo.
Yeah.
And I just want to hear from you, like how did that unfold and what was that like? I mean, because at that point y'all had done a lot of interventions, a lot of recoveries, a lot of rescues, and it kind of feels like y'all were getting a little bit spent on it.
We were absolutely spent. So much so that when she messaged me at first, I was like, God, not another one, you know, and I feel horrible saying that right now. And I felt horrible saying it then, but it's like so much. It's like boom, 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 more and more. Yeah, it's never ending. You don't sleep. And when you try to sleep, you know, Ava was like a baby back then. I had them calling at 3 o'clock in the morning, 4 o'clock in the morning. They're waking up me. They're waking up my child, you know, and it was just so much. And I was like, just fucking stop. And so when Arzo messaged me, I was like, God, not another one. And then I look and, you know, she's got this message, you know, we're 7 people. We're in this tiny room. I just want to, you know, I just want to continue my education. Things I had seen over and over again. I'd seen that before. We had so many safe houses that we had run out of money at this point. We were starting to shut our safe houses down. So I had told her, you know, I was like, I'm sorry, I can't do anything. I don't know what to do for you. We have no money. And then she sends me a picture of her and her family, and I always have to get the proof of life. So I have them, you know, write a Flanders Fields Jess on a sign holding it up so I know it's not like Taliban doing stupid things with their phone. So she did, and I saw her family, and she just looked so sweet and innocent in her face. And I told her again, I was like, I don't really know what I can do for you. We are so broke right now. And so then next thing I know, I get this voice note, and I play it, and it's this woman just this guttural moaning. She's so sad, and it's like she's so upset, and it goes on for like 2 or 3 minutes, and Arzo said, that's my mother. She's crying because they just beat my father. And then she sends me all of her father's documents because, I always have to make sure who is your father. Yeah. So I was like, well, send me documents, send me everything you can. She does. She sends me his documents. It's been commando since the beginning. And she does everything that she's asked. And like after I heard that message, Ben comes in. He has no idea what's happening. He comes in. I'm sitting on the couch in the living room just bawling my eyes out because we have no money to help this girl.
Which is the worst feeling in the world.
Yes, absolutely. It is the worst, which is why most of us have spent our kids' college tuition on this because we feel it. We want to help these people. And it just hurts so bad because I didn't want to tell her no. Yeah. And then after I heard that message, I was like, we're not going to tell her no. We're not. I don't give a fuck what we have to do. We're not telling her no. And so I tell Ben this, and he's like, Jess, come on, we can't. I was like, yeah, the fuck we can, Ben. We can. And I don't know what we did. We figured out a way. We end up safe housing her. We do it for 4 months. After 4 months, we do have to just kick it out. There's nothing left. Our college fund for the kids, everything is gone. And, we're barely making our own bills of our own house and for our own kids. So we were like, it's time. We started shutting them down. But Arzo would she'd keep in contact with me. She made it to Pakistan. One day I hadn't heard from her in like a month. She messaged me. She's like, something really bad happened. And she was in some hotel in Pakistan, and 4 Taliban came in and tried to rape her. And she took out a knife, and she even showed me a picture, and she had about 30 slashes all up and down right here to her wrist. And she was like, I'd rather die on my own hand or something. Wow. I was like, you're a bad bitch. And so that's when we got her with Perry Blackburn's org, Afghan Free. People. Yeah. And
did you know he's in the play now?
No. Are you serious?
He is in Last Out.
Oh, that is amazing.
Yeah. Yeah. He's in Last Out, and he's killing it. We got a brand new cast. Guess which character he is?
Which one?
Lieutenant Colonel Smith, the asshole.
The mean one?
Which is so funny because, that's so not him.
I love it.
But, he's crushing it. He was an actor before he went in SF.
I did not know that.
He was. Yeah.
That is awesome. I have to see it.
He's really good. All right, we lost. Okay, so Perry got involved, and he's helping her get out.
Yes. So he's helping her. She's just moving all over the place, but she's always sending me pictures. And I think Momo gets mad because at this point, me and Ben have to kind of wash our hands.
And Momo's one of his.
Yes, Momo's one of his. And she's very involved in it, very go women, go Afghan women, which is very cool. And I love her for it. But I think she started getting very aggravated because Arzo is mine. She was taking care of Arzo for me. And I just kind of dropped off the map because I had to, for our own sanity, we just had to stop and step away just for a little bit. Much. Our kids were losing us. Yeah. I couldn't, James would come in and ask me a question, but I don't know. Yeah. Because we were so frustrated with everything. We couldn't make anything happen. We couldn't get them out at all anymore after Abbey Gate happened. And there was so much anger all the time, and our kids were getting the brunt of it. So we were like, you know what? We've just got to step back for a minute. And we did. And I think for a few months, I didn't answer on the group. I didn't talk to Momo. So anyway, Arzo messages me as she's going to Tijuana, or she had finally made it to Mexico City, Tijuana.
Which is incredible.
Yes.
That alone.
Absolutely incredible. She did send me a video in between that time of her getting baptized in a bathtub, which me and Ben cried over. It was amazing. Because that's punishable by death for what she just did. But she made it to Mexico City, Tijuana. She was like, hey, I don't know what I'm doing. I have $6. And I finally made it to Mexico City. And it was 1:00 in the morning. I was like, Ben, get with your people. Because he had just done a trip to Tijuana last year to go see the refugee camps. So, and you know, Ben, like he just makes friends with everyone.
Everywhere he goes.
And so
Everywhere
he's
he
like,
goes.
oh, let me text my guy. So she was like, we were like, where are you going to stay? Oh, I'll just go to a shelter. We're like, fuck no, you're not. We're putting you in a hotel. So she'll tell everybody, Ben and Jess got me in a 5-star hotel. It was probably just some bullshit Holiday Inn. But to her, after the travel that she had just, you know, the struggle that she had, it was a 5-star hotel to her.
Wow.
And she's like, I don't know where to go. I was like, you're coming to Memphis. You're going to come live with us, Arzo.
Yeah.
And she's been with us ever since, and she's amazing.
Yeah. What do you feel, you know, through all that stuff? I mean, you guys cashed in your kids' college funds, you know, your own mental health, you know, you saw people not make it and horrible things like that. What do you feel when you see her, like in Rhodes College now, doing what she's doing?
I don't even have words for it. It is just such a phenomenal feeling. And to think about all the shit that she went through, like on her, and that's another reason I understand why she was afraid to travel. Because she was just, I mean, like literally, and she's terrified of water. Like she will not go near water. And that's because she fell in alligator infested waters twice. They were like, y'all be careful. Don't fall. She fell out of the fucking boat as soon as they told her that. You know, she went through that. Her arm turned black. She almost lost her arm from getting bit by an animal in the jungle, you know, days at a time with no food. And to know she went through all that and now she is safe and probably the most protected person in Memphis.
That's what you were saying. I love that.
Yes.
I love that.
And to see the humility in this girl.
Yeah.
Like and you don't see that in America. You know, everybody's so fucking entitled. Everybody has their glitz and their glamour and their Coach bags. And like, this is a girl that will be happier than shit just having a Ziploc bag to carry her stuff in.
Yeah.
And there's something it just does something to you to see that kind of humility. And there's just no ego. There's no pride. She knows who she is. She knows she's here for an education. She knows that she can do it because she sure as hell did. But I can't even explain it.
Is it similar to the feeling that you get when you guys do what you do in South Memphis, like transforming the homes and getting people into a new place in their life? Is it similar to that? Is it like
It is
that?
similar to that. It is different because I know of that addiction. You know, I know of that struggle. I don't know of hers.
Yeah.
I know of it. I can't say that I've lived it. I can't say that I've experienced it. But there is it's I can't even think of a word right now because
But wouldn't you say, is it possible that maybe, like in some deep level, like the struggle that you experienced in your life as a child, and when you saw her, was there some kind of connection there, do you think, across the miles?
I think so because there's trauma's trauma, whether
Trauma's
you're going
trauma.
through, you know, and I just saw, and when I saw her face, I could just see this brokenness in it. Like that first picture she sent me, and she just looked like she wanted to smile, but her face just wouldn't. Like her face just wouldn't allow it. And I know that face. I know that feeling. And so it was just something in that picture when she first, so I felt it.
I see what you guys did with her and so many other people. I see what y'all did in West Maui to help with the fires and so much more. So when I see what you're doing in South Memphis with We Fight Monsters, not just the book, to me, We Fight Monsters is a movement.
Yes.
Would you agree? Like it's a book happens to be one way in which you tell the story, but what y'all are doing is a movement.
Yeah.
And Ben and I talked about the dope houses to hope houses, which I love, but we didn't talk about the rehab center. And I feel like that is such a grand vision. Can you talk a little bit about that in just terms of like, how do you see that? What is your hope for that? What does that look like as kind of a next level for you guys?
And that will definitely be a level up for us. That'll
Right.
be
I mean, that's a lift, right?
Yeah. And we've been talking about this for years that we want our own rehab recovery center. And one reason for that is in all of the work that we're doing and stuff that we've experienced, you know, you have detox centers, you have rehab centers, you have a center for, outpatient. But we will end up losing clients to the streets because they'll leave detox and they'll slip through the cracks and not make it to rehab.
Right.
Or they'll go to detox, they'll make it to rehab, they'll slip through the cracks and not have anywhere else to go. And then the cycle starts all over
Right.
again. They go out, they get high, they have to go back to detox. This will be a place, a one-stop shop.
Comprehensive care.
Yes. And then go to detox. When you're done with detox, you go to 28-day stay. When you're done with that, you have short-term or you have long-term residential. You have a lot of trauma you're dealing with. Cool. We've got art therapy. We've got music therapy. We'll have therapy dogs. You know, it's on 5 acres of land. And so we want them to be able to make things, do things with their hands, you know, not just sit there and think about things. So we want to have a huge like gardening center. So we can, you know, make our own food if we want, or at least our own vegetables and, you know, stuff like that. And it's good to work with your hands. It keeps your mind, and I think that's why I keep moving all the time.
Yeah.
And because when you just sit, it's not good for anybody. So. And we're going to have intensive outpatient programming, IOP. So it's like classes where you can come to, like if you have graduated the program, you're not in residential anymore, you're at home living with your family, but you still need a little bit of help.
Yeah.
You can come in there, do your classes, you know. They have all kinds of these different therapy sessions now, not just, you know, art and music. Like, I mean, I don't want to say hypnotic type stuff. I don't really know anything about any of that. ESMR, I think, is what Ben.
Yeah, EMDR.
EMDR,
Yeah,
yes.
like alternative stuff plus
Yes.
I think it's a form of neuro-linguistic programming and stuff like that.
Yes.
Just alternatives. Yeah.
So, I mean, there's so much new stuff
New
out
stuff
there.
out there.
So we're going to tap into a lot
Beautiful.
of that. And we're going to have another section where we do, you know, the woodworking shop. We're probably going to put that in there.
Yeah.
My huge dream, my donation center that we have in the warehouse right now. It's only a small little section that I have, but it's always been my dream. So I'm super pumped about even having it at all. But I want it to be in a huge area because I just have, you know, so much space, and we have so much stuff now because people love what we're doing, so they keep donating stuff. And now I'm having to put some of it in storage where people can't see it. And I've always told Ben, I mean, since I've known him, because I grew up with nothing, I want a place that people can go get what they need for free. I don't want them to pay for it. I didn't have to pay for it. Why the hell should they have to pay for it? You know, if you're starting your life over and you need shit, come get some shit. And so that's what this is going to be.
Does that stem back to you and your brother having to go, you know,
Absolutely.
kind of back behind the cafeteria? And
Absolutely. Because we see so many mothers in particular that they'll get their shit together and their kid will have to come home and be like, well, I don't have shit and I got bullied. And that makes the parent feel bad. And they're like, well, and then they start thinking about all the shit that they did to their kid, or, you know, and then they are the reason that their kid doesn't have shit. I'm just going down a rabbit hole now.
No, you're not.
But
It's spot on. I mean, that's the problem.
yes.
You know, I think about Gabby Camargo. I know I keep going back to them, but, you know, they built a center. We had nothing, and you know it was Gabby and Romy and me and a couple other folks, and we had nothing. We had this building with shit hanging out of the ceiling, but Gabby had this vision, just like what you described. And I remember on the day that Mr. Nagata came over from Toyota, and he just happened to give us like 10 minutes, and Gabby's walking him around, and she literally, like the rooms, Jess, some of the rooms didn't even have a light bulb in them, but she would take him in the room, and she's standing there in the dark, telling him what that room's going to be. And there was one particular room where she said, this room is going to be the children's room. So when their loved one is getting spinal cord care, the children can read books, they can play. And she's standing in the dark. I'm watching her do this. And she goes, when Romy was injured and was in the VA, our son Andres played on the toilet. And she was like, we're not going to have that here. And I looked at Mr. Nagata. I looked at Romy, and Romy gave me this look like he's toast. And he looked at her and he said, we're going to help you.
I just love that.
And I really feel like that's what's going to happen with you guys.
We're hoping so.
I really do. I feel like that because you've got such vision, such story, such power behind what y'all are doing. And now, I mean, you've at least got your eye on a facility, right? A structure. And if it's not that one, it's going to be one like that.
Yes.
But, you know, a comprehensive care center. So bring it back to the book. You guys are launching the book now. You're in the Kickstarter campaign. Tell us, what is your hope for, how can folks help right now with getting this book off the ground and making it a New York Times bestseller and getting it all over the world?
I think the main thing is to get one. And and we have a bunch of extras, like when you buy a book, you can add on this, you can add on that.
Right.
And I think that's a big thing too. Like we have a trip to Memphis, and people can actually live it for themselves.
As someone who's done this like multiple times with my bride, you got to do it. That should be like the number one thing people are purchasing.
We haven't got any takers yet, but
you will.
I hope we. But it really is a life-changing experience.
It changed our life.
And so that's one way to help. And if you don't have money for a book, it's totally free to share a post, to talk about it, to tell your friends about it. So that's huge. Just word of mouth is huge. But we're trying to sell as many books as we can. We started the Kickstarter today. It ends on March 30th. And then from there, I think we start giving books away.
So if you're watching this and we're beyond the Kickstarter phase, March 30th, 2025, just know that what they're doing with the book, we've been talking about it, like for sure it's going to be on Amazon. I would not be surprised to see it published and in bookstores. So you're going to be able to get, the book is going to be widely accessible. I think the key is, if you're watching this during the launch period, pre-order that thing right now, right? Because there's going to be a huge demand signal for it. Pre-order. And then Ben's going to also read it too, right? There'll be an audio recording of it.
Yes. I think we're both going to
Are you both
record
reading?
it. Yeah. Because I think there's some parts with me.
It should be your
voice.
And
that would be weird for him to do my voice.
One thing I'm going to push back on the storytelling, where you said you don't have emotion. You absolutely do. And the cool thing about your emotional access is it's because you do contain it, is it comes up in exactly the right moments. So you need to keep telling stories and keep changing the world.
Thank you.
You know, anything that we didn't cover that you feel like you want to put out there or anything?
No, I think we got all of it.
Well, you crushed it. So thank you for being here. Thank you for what you and Ben do. You guys are our heroes. You always will be. And I can't wait to get back to Memphis and see what y'all are doing.
Yes.
All right.
Thank you.
Well, thanks everybody for watching this episode of the Scott Mann Podcast. And seriously, man, if you're during the launch window of the Kickstarter, go pre-order the book right now. If you're past that, go to Amazon and make sure that you get a copy for somebody that needs it. All right, what this book offers to folks that are going through struggle, and it doesn't even necessarily have to be addiction, right? The miles that they've run and the scars that they've repurposed into the service of other people is something for all of us to learn from. Like this book, its time has come, man. So the book should be a movement, honestly. And it's up to us to make that happen. So I encourage you to get out there and make that impact, because it's going to change, maybe even save somebody's life, right? Just like they're doing. So thanks for what you do, and we'll see you on the rooftop.